$25.29 billion. That's how much money McDonald's rakes in every single year. It operates in over 100 countries with more than 40,000 restaurants serving billions of customers. And hamburgers? Over 99 billion sold. So many that they stopped counting. Today, if you want to own a McDonald's, the franchise fee alone is $45,000. But back in 1955, when it was just getting started, only $950. Too cheap, right? And yet somehow McDonald's exploded into a global empire. But here's what most people never realize. McDonald's didn't become a billion-dollar powerhouse by selling burgers. And the men who started it, they weren't the ones who built it into what it is today. This is a story of grit, power, and one of the most genius business models ever created. If you have even an ounce of entrepreneurial spirit, you need to hear this. Because two men turned McDonald's into an empire. And it wasn't the McDonald brothers. And no, the real money doesn't come from food. Like most billion-dollar empires, McDonald's started humbly, not in a corporate boardroom, but in San Bernardino, California, where two brothers were chasing the American dream. Meet Maurice and Richard McDonald, better known as Mac and Dick. They pioneered what we now call fast food. Their big idea? The Speedee Service System. A revolutionary assembly line for burgers that turned food service into a precision machine. By the time they passed away, they were millionaires. But here's the shocking part. They weren't the ones who turned McDonald's into a global empire. That took someone else. Because while they were brilliant entrepreneurs, they were reluctant empire builders. They wanted more money but didn't want to do the work of scaling up. It all started with failure. After watching their father lose his job after decades of loyal service, Mac and Dick swore they would never work for anyone else. They moved to California, hoping to make it in Hollywood. They worked on movie sets, carried equipment, and saved every penny, dreaming of owning a theater. After years of grinding, they finally opened one. But there was just one problem. It wasn't making money. And then they noticed something. Outside their struggling theater, a hot dog stand was thriving. Even during a recession, people still needed to eat. That changed everything. They sold the theater, jumped into the restaurant business, and in 1940, launched McDonald's Barbecue, a drive-in restaurant with 25 menu items. It paid the bills, but it wasn't life-changing money. And worse, the work was brutal, so they made a bold move. They shut the restaurant down for 3 months to reinvent the way food was served. When they analyzed their sales, hamburgers stood out as the clear winner. So they cut the menu, removed distractions, and designed an ultra-efficient system to serve burgers in seconds, not minutes. And just like that, the Speedee Service System was born. It was a game changer. Customers loved it. The lines stretched out the door. The brothers cautiously expanded to 9 locations. And then, they stopped. They liked the extra cash from franchising, but they weren't willing to sell more. They had gold in their hands, but zero ambition to scale it. If it were up to them, McDonald's would have died with them. No Big Mac, no golden arches, no worldwide empire. They had the system, but they weren't willing to take it further. The man who would, he wasn't a chef, he wasn't a restaurant owner, but he sure as hell wasn't lazy. He had no blueprint, no guarantees, but he had one thing, an obsession. Enter Ray Kroc. And that obsession was about to change everything. By the time Ray Kroc met the McDonald brothers, he was 52 years old, with diabetes, arthritis, no gallbladder, and most of his thyroid removed. Broke, struggling. But he was about to change the fast food industry forever. Because while the McDonald brothers were comfortable, Ray Kroc was obsessed. He wasn't young, he wasn't rich, but he sure as hell wasn't lazy. And unlike the brothers, he didn't see McDonald's as just a small business. He saw a gold mine waiting to be scaled across the country. But how does a struggling milkshake machine salesman turn a tiny burger stand into a billion-dollar empire? He grinded it out. From childhood, Ray was a dreamer. But unlike most dreamers, he took action. If he dreamed of a lemonade stand, he built one. If he wanted money, he found a way to make it. His mantra, work is the meat to the hamburger of life. And that relentless drive took him from selling paper cups to real estate to multi-mixers, the first business he owned, and that's what led him straight to McDonald's. One day, Ray noticed something strange. Most customers bought one multi-mixer, but in San Bernardino, there was one tiny restaurant using 8. Why? Because this wasn't just any restaurant. This was the McDonald Brothers burger stand, and Ray Kroc saw the future. And more importantly, he saw his way out of financial struggle. If there were more McDonald's, there would be more multi-mixer sales. His business would explode. So he pitched the brothers, expand, franchise, make McDonald's a national brand. But they weren't interested. It'd be a lot of trouble, Dick McDonald objected. So Ray asked one question that changed history. What if I do it? They hesitated, but eventually they agreed. And that's when Ray signed the worst business deal of his life. He would charge franchisees $950 per location and get 1.9% of their sales. The McDonald brothers would take 0.5% from his cut. Ray had to find and build every location himself. And any changes? The McDonald brothers had to approve. At first, he didn't care. He was too excited, dreaming about all the multi-mixers he was about to sell. But soon the nightmare set in, and this deal was bleeding him dry. He had to find a way out. Before McDonald's, Harry Sunborn was the vice president of finance at Tasty Freeze, until a fallout with the owner forced him to walk away. Then he came across Ray Kroc's McDonald's prototype, and he immediately saw its potential. He wasn't just impressed, he wanted in. But there was one problem. Ray Kroc was broke. Kroc was grinding, opening new locations and barely making a dime. He couldn't afford to hire anyone, so Harry made a bold offer. Let me go home, figure out the bare minimum I need to survive, and I'll get back to you. 1 week later, he called Ray. I can make it work on $100 a week. I'll work 24 hours a day if I have to. Ray couldn't refuse, because Harry was a financial mastermind, and McDonald's desperately needed one. The problems were obvious to Harry. McDonald's wasn't making real money selling food. The franchisees were the ones putting up all the cash to open new stores. And worse, McDonald's had no control over how those stores were built, run, or marketed. If McDonald's was ever going to become an empire, it couldn't just sell franchises, it had to own the land. Sunborn's plan was simple, but revolutionary. Instead of franchisees renting from landlords, McDonald's would lease or buy the land themselves. Then, instead of just a franchise fee, franchisees would pay McDonald's rent. And the best part? McDonald's structured the rent so they always profited, no matter how the franchise performed. With this one move, McDonald's wasn't just a burger chain anymore. It was a real estate empire. Ray didn't just like Harry's idea, he bet everything on it. He mortgaged his house, he put his car on the line, he drowned in debt. No plan B, no safety net, just blind belief. For 8 years, Kroc didn't take a single paycheck from McDonald's, funding his salary and that of early McDonald's employees from his multi-mixer business, while working nonstop. Meanwhile, the McDonald brothers sat back, collecting their 0.5% cut from Ray's 1.9% franchise fee. Ray was working day and night while they refused to increase his percentage. But with Sunborn's real estate strategy, Kroc was about to flip the entire game on its head. Because now, McDonald's wasn't just a fast food chain, it was a billion-dollar real estate empire. Today, McDonald's owns or controls the land under 90% of its franchise locations. Its real estate portfolio? Worth between $28 billion and $42 billion. McDonald's sells billions of burgers, but its most powerful revenue stream comes from leasing properties to franchisees. And that billion-dollar empire? It was built by a man who started at just $100 a week. In Ray Kroc's time, McDonald's franchise owners came from all walks of life. Sailors, policemen, college professors, judges, rabbis, bankers, dentists, military leaders, even professional athletes. They weren't born business moguls. They didn't need special talent, a fancy degree, or a secret formula. What set them apart? Determination. Ray Kroc believed success wasn't about talent or education. It was about persistence. His favorite homily summed it up best: press on. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent won't. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius won't. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education won't. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. This video is based on the book Grinding It Out by Ray Kroc. If you're serious about success in business or your career, this book is a must-read. I've read it twice, and I don't usually read books twice. If you're thinking of grabbing a copy, use the link in the description. It won't cost you extra, but it supports the channel. And if you love this video, you're going to love the next one we've picked just for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.